You are listening to the Free to Be Mindful podcast, which invites you along on a journey to learn of mindful living, grow in mental health, and inspire through personal growth. In a world where we can often feel much stress and overwhelm, this podcast provides bite-sized tips and real talk conversations, empowering you to embrace mindfulness and nurture your full potential. I'm your host, Vanessa De Jesus Guzman, licensed therapist, retired educator, entrepreneur, and mom of two. I'm passionate about helping busy moms reduce the overwhelm and to live life intentionally without losing their, here we go. Hi, and welcome back to the Consult a Counselor series. In this series, I answer parenting-related questions so that you can reduce the overwhelm, find joy, and live life mindfully. Today's question is, what should I do if my child is being bullied at school? So this is tough, especially when we send our kids to school to learn and to be safe and to have fun. And then if they're experiencing quite the opposite, it's really hard on us, the parent. And by the way, October is National Bullying Prevention Awareness Month. So you may find your child hearing a lot about this topic as well. So I'd like to offer you a few tips when working with your child and then how to go about it with the school too. But before I do either one of those things, I'd like to share that most states have some kind of harassment, intimidation, and bullying law that schools must abide by. In my home state of the state of New Jersey, these laws have to be easily accessible on the school's homepage of their website. So you may want to look at those if they are indeed posted. But even prior to any of that happening, it's important to understand this very delicate nuance. Kids, especially, use the word bullying to label any kind of mean behavior. And sometimes it could be used to describe when other kids don't share with them or when other kids don't let them get their way. And two kids or even two adults can be in the same situation, and one may define a mean behavior as bullying and the other may not. And as adults, it's important for us to understand that there is a difference between conflict, which is a normal part of growing up and present in our everyday lives, and between teasing, which can be friendly or unfriendly, and between bullying. If one kid doesn't ever want to share their toys or let someone go down the slide first or not share his materials in class or for no reason other than just being mean or what I like to call jerky behavior, this may be conflict, but not bullying. Because of this, from my days as a school counselor and anti-bullying specialist to now my days in the therapy room and at home as a mom, I don't use the B word. Bullying, that is. I instead teach kids how to describe the behavior so that it is clear to the listener what exactly is taking place and it doesn't leave space for misunderstanding or for the listener to interpret the situation in their own way. So, with all that being said, here are 5 tips to help you help your kids when they tell you about mistreatment that they may be experiencing. The first is listen and support. Before asking any questions, just hear them out without interruptions, especially if your kids are younger. Encourage your kids to share their experiences without fear of judgment by you and let them know that they're not alone and that you're there to support them. The second is after they get it all out, then ask the questions to gather information. Questions like, what exactly did the person do? When did this happen? Where did this happen? What happened right before this took place? Was anyone else around to see what happened? How long has it been going on? What may you have done in response? We want to ask all of these types of open-ended questions, meaning questions that elicit a longer response and not just a yes or no answer. And we also want to make sure that we don't lead the witness, as lawyers would say. We want to make sure that they're answering their question on their own. The third tip is throughout this information gathering process, keep your feelings in check. And believe you me, I've been there. It's really easy to want to go all mama bear when your child is being targeted in some way. Remember, though, that your child is going to pick up on your energy. Responding with anger may escalate your kids' distress or make them reluctant to share more. Remaining concerned but level headed is going to be crucial here. And you may even want to write down the details that they share with you should you need to escalate it further. The fourth tip is, as parents, we want to teach and model coping strategies because we know that even as adults, other adults aren't kind all the time. And remember, your child is not born with these strategies automatically programmed into them. So it's a must to teach them practical strategies like walking away, making light of the situation, assertively telling the other person to stop, and how to report the situation, depending on what's happening and on the circumstances. A book that I love that does an excellent job at breaking down these coping strategies is called Confessions of a Former Bully. I did an SEL book review on this book, which you can find on my YouTube channel, and I'll link that in the show notes so you can check it out after listening to this podcast. Also, know that talking about it one time just simply isn't enough. For it to stay sticky, as I like to say, in their minds, we want to not only discuss how to deal with the situation, but then practice it through role playing it out with you. And the fifth tip is to support your child's confidence, not just when they tell you about these types of situations, but all of the time. And this can take various forms, like encouraging them to stay active in activities and have friendships through sports or clubs or through musical instruments, whatever their thing may be. This not only helps them boost their self esteem, but it also helps them expand their friendship circles. And by being involved in different types of activities, it also teaches your kids how to manage everyday conflict, which then helps them build their resilience levels. Also, being in activities with kids outside of the school widens their awareness to people who may be different from them, which can then be a springboard to conversations at home on kindness and on building empathy for others. So, those are tips on how to help your kids. Now, when dealing with the school, please make sure that you communicate with them and not in June about things that have happened all fall, but make sure that you stay in consistent and timely communication with either your child's teacher, assistant principal, or school counselor, depending on the level of where your child is. Provide them with the details and documentations of the incidents as they happen so that they can implement interventions to prevent further things from happening. And stay in regular contact with them to ensure that they are taking appropriate action and to monitor the situation. Now, if mistreatment continues to persist, even after telling the school, you can always escalate it directly to the district or seeking advice from a lawyer, especially if there are threats to your child's safety. But I do suggest to follow the chain of command, not going from 0 to 100 right away. Now, going back to the laws of harassment, intimidation, and bullying, or HIB for short, also know that in most cases, when it's just conflict and another child gets a consequence or a disciplinary action, those details are not shared with other students or with their parents. Furthermore, when something is considered bullying, it's not only disruptive to the school day and disruptive to the child, but it's also something that's done specific to the child's characteristics that they cannot change, such as ethnicity, religion, orientation, height, weight. You can imagine. These are the important conversations that should be happening at home and at school so that kids know exactly what bullying is, but also just how to be kind people. And the key is to approach the situation with care, with patience, and with consistent support. By maintaining open communication with the school and involving the school, you can help ensure that your child can feel safe at school, more confident, and supported. So, one last point, and this is an unpopular opinion. Know that when your child experiences conflict, as long as they are safe, it is okay, and it may actually be a little bit of a good thing. My own son has experienced unkind behavior from other kids, and some of it has just been jerky behavior, as I like to say, and some of it has been bullying. And the school has dealt with it, and then we at home discuss it. Yeah, we don't want our kids to be doormats or punching bags, but we also don't want them to be instigators or overly sensitive, as we know what they may face in this world. So I hope this helped. If you think it could help another mom or dad friend, be sure to share it with them and hit the subscribe button wherever you're listening so that you don't miss the next video. If you have any questions that you'd like to have answered on the Consult a Counselor series, you can go to the show notes and ask the questions on the link there. And remember, my friends, in a world where you are free to be anything that you want to be, you are always free to be mindful. Thanks so much and catch you next time.